Hitchhiking has become a very dangerous and risky activity. Even though hitchhiking is heavily discouraged now, there are still a lot of people who try to catch rides with strangers. There was a time where hitchhiking was pretty safe, but now we're more aware of how dangerous people can be. So I would suggest you think twice about picking up a hitchhiker or sticking your thumb out, because you just never know who's gonna be coming on by. You may not live to tell the tale. Well, how's it going, YouTube? I'm your host for this one, Landon Do Not Sing, and welcome back to another most amazing top 10 video. So before we get started here, I want to know, what is the scariest or most risky thing you've ever done? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, head over to my Instagram and tell me your answers over there. Follow me at Landon Productions. We're closing in on 100,000 followers. Insane. Alright, let's jump right into this list. This is the top 10 scary hitchhiking urban legends. Alright, so kicking things off just like that, in at number 10, we have the vanishing hitchhiker. This is a story about a young girl who was trying to make it back home. A man driving down a quiet country road saw her walking and offered her a ride. She asked him to take her home, but they told her that they were on their way to a dance which was in the opposite direction. They asked if the girl wanted to come with them, and she agreed. After the dance ended, the boy offered to take her home. So they got in a car and started to drive. He walked her to the door, but a woman answered. She said that the girl was her daughter, but she'd been dead for 12 years. She was killed in a car accident, and she was buried in a nearby cemetery. Apparently this ghost can be seen on rainy nights along lonely country roads. Although she seems harmless, I wouldn't pull over and offer her a ride. The UBC hitchhiker comes into this list at number 9. Over in Vancouver, Canada, it is believed that if you drive along University Boulevard, you'll probably run into a dangerous hitchhiking spirit. According to the local legend, a woman will ask a man for a ride, and once she gets into the car, she will give the driver a note, and then bam, just vanish out of thin air. It's like a Thanos snap happened. Well, that's not creepy at all. Some people have reported seeing this woman on the side of the road, soaking wet and really distressed, while others say that she's really quiet and mysterious. I really want to know what the note says. Maybe it's a warning to not pick up hitchhikers. The red-headed hitchhiker takes our number 8 spot. There are some places in the world where you should never ever attempt to hitchhike. There are a lot of dangerous people out there who only want to kidnap you or throw you into human trafficking. One of these places is known as Route 44 in Massachusetts. The legend of the red-headed hitchhiker goes something like this. Drivers will pick him up after they see him wandering on the side of the road. He will only get in the back seat. The driver will ask where is he going, but he won't give you a response. He will only point straight. After traveling in complete silence, he will suddenly begin to giggle, which turns into a sinister, manic laugh. The driver usually threatens to kick him out of the car if he doesn't stop, but then in an instant, he will just disappear. But although he vanishes from the back seat, you can always hear his evil laugh whenever you get into the car. The Browning Road hitchhiker pulls into number 7. In Delano, California, there is one road there that no one should ever travel down, and that's because there is an evil hitchhiking ghost that can be found on Browning Road. The spirit of a young lady who died there decades ago haunts this lonely road. If you are brave enough to drive down it, you might come across her angry spirit. She is known to lash out on those driving down this creepy road. She might even appear in the backseat of your car. Some people say that they have been choked by her and they've lost control of their car. So yeah, if you appreciate your life and your car, you won't ever drive along Browning Road. Oh no terrorizes us in at number 6. If you guys have ever been hitchhiking, this next story will probably make you never want to stick out your thumb again. A 17-year-old woman was hitchhiking at night when she was picked up by a strange man. It was a snowy night and the man seemed quiet and friendly at first. But at one point, they came up to a hazard on the road and the woman yelled, "Watch out!" The man yelled back at her and said, "Never scream at me ever again." She immediately wanted to get out of the car, but she refused to pull over. Finally, he pulled into a gas station and she quickly got out of the car. He threw a note out of the window and it said, "If you want to live again, don't tell anyone about me and never hitchhike ever again." Well, that's probably the creepiest note I've ever read. I think it's time for this girl to get her driver's license and invest in a car. The orange socks murder crashes onto this list at number 5. A woman was out one night with her close friends at a local bar. She called her husband to let him know that she would find her own way home. But the thing is, she never made it back home. The next morning, her husband went out looking for her and he found her body in a remote field. She had been shot to death and she was only wearing one orange sock. 6 months later, the body of another missing woman was discovered in a wooded area, and she was also shot to death and assaulted, but she was also wearing the other matching orange sock. So what is going on? It is believed that the killer had picked up these two women at different points throughout the night while they were hitchhiking, and he murdered them in cold blood. But what makes this story even more scarier is the fact that it's a true story and this case remains unsolved. Is this real life right now? So this orange sock killer is still out there on the loose, and he's probably still on a murderous rampage. Up next, number 4, we have the WALHALLA hitchhiker. Lara Stevens was a pilot who loved to fly his small plane near Walhalla, South Carolina, but during one of his flights, he ran into some bad weather which caused him to crash into the mountains. His body was never found, but he was presumed dead. According to the local urban legend, people who are driving down Road 107 will see a young male hitchhiker on the side of the road. They say that you should pull over and offer him a ride, or he will get very angry and cause you to crash your car. Once you pick him up, he will tell you where he wants to go, but then he will vanish into thin air as soon as he gets out of the car. He will only leave behind water and mud in your car. Well, that just seems so damn rude. And you know what? Note to self, don't drive down this road after I get my car detailed and cleaned. Or maybe I should invest in some floor mats. Resurrection Mary climbs into this list at number 3. This is a story about a young girl named Mary who was on her way to a ballroom party with her boyfriend. On their drive, they got into a huge fight, so she got out of the car, but she was struck by a truck and she immediately died. She was buried at the Resurrection Cemetery that was near the crash site, and now it is believed that if you drive along this road, you might see a young girl in a party dress who is trying to hitchhike. If you let her into your car, she will ask you to take her to the cemetery. You aren't supposed to refuse or she will kill you. Once you make it to the cemetery and she gets out of the car, you're supposed to drive out there as fast as you can, or else she will try to drag you into an empty grave. I mean, that sounds pretty damn terrifying. Carl Eder makes it onto this list at number 2. This is a story about a 16-year-old kid named Carl Eder who was hitchhiking in California. He was homeless and desperate for a ride. That's when a friendly man took mercy on him and decided to pick him up and take him back to his home where he can have a shower, a decent meal, and a place to sleep. The boy stayed there for 6 weeks, but when the man returned home one day from work, his whole life came crashing down. He discovered that his wife and their 4 kids had been brutally murdered. Is this real life right now? Carl Eder told the police that he was angry because the youngest kid was irritating him. So he decided to stab everyone in the house. This is just so messed up. Carl Eder was arrested and sentenced to 2 life terms, but he escaped from prison and he has never been found. And also, I think I forgot to tell you guys that this is a true story. And if I were you guys, I would lock all my doors and never pick up a hitchhiker ever again. The girl in a box brings us to number 1. We've saved the scariest for last. We've done it again. This is more of a cautionary tale than an urban legend, and I think we all know how dangerous hitchhiking can be by now. But in case you find yourself inside of the road sticking out your thumb, just remember this story I'm about to tell you. Colin Stan was a young teenager who was trying to hitch a ride to her friend's house. She thought that she was a really good hitchhiker because she knew when to turn down rides. But when a blue van pulled over, she saw that a man and a woman were in the car and there was a baby seat in the back. So she thought that it would be a safe ride because, well, they're parents. What's the worst that can happen? Well, she was very wrong. Shortly after picking her up, the man held a knife to her neck and forced her into a head box that weighed 20 pounds. But that's not where the torture ends. She was kidnapped and held in their home for 7 years as a slave. She was forced to stay inside of a wooden box that was kept underneath their bed for 23 hours a day. She was constantly being tortured and abused for those 7 years, but she eventually escaped and was brought back home. I mean, what an intense story to end off this video. I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching the whole video, and thanks for always supporting Most Amazing Top 10. This is it for this video, guys. I will see you guys all in the next Most Amazing Top 10 video. Bye.